Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Azur Ramli and today I'll present you my study which is titled How Plus Size Models Inclusion in Fashion Advertisement Affect Customer Behavior. So for the table of content, I will be talking to you about the introduction of the study itself, the research objective and question, literature review, the hypothesis, the research methodology, data analysis result, discussion, and then we'll end it with conclusion and recommendation. So for the introduction, let me introduce you a bit about the topic that I'll be talking about. Traditionally, fashion brand has always been dominated by the traditional beauty standard which they enforce upon themselves, which is like the models are very fair skin or like white, pale skin, and then traditionally like very slim, and it creates like a really toxic beauty standard that a lot of people cannot achieve, as it is not all people were born like that. And then this beauty standard is very toxic because those people who do not conform to this standard may feel body dysmorphia and body dissatisfaction, which can lead to a lot of harmful things. But at the same time, in the more current years, we as society has becoming more progressive, and we feel more acceptance towards different body types, as we can see that there are a lot of plus size individuals and we are like more fine with it. And then as we can see here also that fashion brands have becoming more aware of this issue, and they start to hire plus size model in their advertisement to see that maybe it will represent the people more. So for the problem statement, knowing that the importance of plus size inclusion in fashion advertisement in the current society, the purpose of this study is to investigate the impact of hiring plus size models in fashion advertising campaign on customers' behavior. This research will highlight whether fashion brands should or should not include the plus size model, and to see the extent or the effectiveness of the plus size model in the said fashion advertisement. Additionally, fashion brands can be more aware of like what the customer want or do not want to see in the advertisement. So I come up with two research questions. The first one is, in what way do plus size model inclusion in fashion advertisement affect customers' purchasing decision? And the second one is, to what extent is the usage of plus size model can be used by fashion brand to attract customers? The objective are to examine whether the usage of plus size model in advertising can lead to increase in the purchasing decision made by the customer, and to examine the effectiveness of the plus size inclusion in fashion advertisement. As for the limitation, there are some limit to my research, which is that there are limited amount of previous research conducted before this study on this regarding topic, and then the data that I gathered may only be represent Indonesian population, especially the current one, as the study is conducted from March until May 2023, and therefore the data I gathered is also not normally distributed due to the number of respondents. So for the literature review, I examined the connectivity between the plus size inclusive brand image toward customer purchase decision. So fashion models who represent themselves as plus size are more relevant in the society because the customers can relate to those models from a short experience of their imperfection in the eye of the beauty standard, as I mentioned previously. These individuals will be more willing to support brands who represent the reality of the society and challenge the traditional beauty standard compared to the brands who are still enforcing the traditional beauty standard. And therefore, it is said that customers are more willing to purchase from brands who are including more inclusivity rather than those brands who are still staying the same in the safe traditional model zone. So then I come up with a hypothesis, which is the plus size inclusive brand image has significant impact on customers' purchase decision. And then for the research methodology, my approach is the quantitative method because I want this phenomenon to represent the current Indonesian population. Therefore, I need a large scale of respondent, and I don't think it might work with qualitative method. And then for the data collection, I'm using survey by using Google Form from the 1st until 4th of May by using Likert 5 scale on the questionnaires. And the data sampling, I'm using non-probability sampling with convenience method, as I don't have any specific requirements for the respondent. They just have to be random. And then the data analysis will be using Microsoft Excel to do some descriptive statistic. And then I'm using Smart PLS by most importantly PLISM to do the data quality test, which includes validity and reliability tests, and also hypothesis tests by using bootstrapping. So here's the data analysis and result. I managed to gain a total respondent of 100 respondents, and most of them come from young adults, which are aged 18 to 29 years old, and all of them are predominantly female. As for the data and analysis result, we can see here that the respondent react positively towards this cause, as all of the statements are basically scored higher than 80%, which is actually quite impressive. And with that being said, that there is indeed something like a positive reaction by the customers towards this phenomenon. And then here is the data quality test. We are using the validity test, and as we can see here, I did 2 tests because based on the first result, it can be seen that some of the data are not considered, are failed to meet the requirement, as they are still below 0.7, which is the minimum, and therefore this data will be deleted and will not be used into the hypothesis test. And then as we can see here, after I delete the data, all of them are becoming valid now because all of them are still scored higher than 0.7 in the loading factor. And then the second requirement is the average variance extracted should be higher than 0.5, and as we can see here in the first result, it's still, one of them is still not higher than 0.5, and therefore after the data previously mentioned are deleted, it is now valid as it is higher than 0.5 now. The same thing also happened for the reliability test. By using the Chromebox Alpha, it should be higher than 0.5, and it is greater than that, so the data is considered valid. And then for the hypothesis test, I'm using the bootstrapping method by looking at the p-value, and as we can see here that the p-value is less than 0.05, meaning that there is indeed a significant impact between the two latent variables. And then we are using the bootstrapping test. We can see the R-square value of the variables, and we can see here that the plus size inclusive brand image mounts 88.30% of customer purchase decision, which is quite a huge number. And then therefore we can see for the result is that I have to accept my hypothesis, which plus size inclusive brand image has indeed significant impact on customer purchase decision, as mentionedly proven. And then the plus size inclusive brand image mounts 88.3% of the purchase decision. And then I have to answer the question: in what way do plus size model inclusion in fashion advertisement affect customer purchasing decision? So as we can previously tell, the respondent showed a positive reaction toward plus size inclusive fashion brands, where the average on both variables scored higher than 80%. Most notably, fashion brands appear to be more inclusive and diverse when it comes to representing their new brand image. And then additionally, there is a positive relationship within the plus size inclusive brand image with the customer purchase decision. This means that inclusive brand image in fashion brand have significant role in developing the customer purchase decision, which a lot of fashion brands should really pursue right now. And then for the second question, to what extent is the usage of plus size model can be used by fashion brands to attract customers? We can see that plus size inclusive brand image mount 88.30% in influencing customer purchasing decision, which is already quite a huge number. This means that the customer purchase decision is not only influenced by the inclusive brand image, but also other factors that are not analyzed in this research by the remaining 11.70%. As a result, fashion brand can include the plus size model in their advertisement because it affects the overall brand image of the fashion brand itself, which leads to brand purchase by the customer. So yeah, I would really suggest that fashion brand to hire plus size models. Okay, so for the conclusion, fashion industry has a long history of creating the beauty standard in the society, and then the society itself has shown its reluctance by existing beauty standard and embrace the plus size and other marginalized individual. As a result, fashion brands show this trend as a positive side and decided to embrace the difference to diversity themselves and be more inclusive, hence creating a plus size inclusive brand image. This brand image is perceived to have impact on the customer purchase decision, and it is proven true in this study. And then, so in conclusion, fashion brand need to start embracing the plus size model as sooner as they can, since it will be good for their brand image and overall customer purchase. And then I hereby declare some recommendation for fashion brands. I will really start recommend fashion brands to denormalize the traditional beauty standard. The pale white skin models shouldn't be the norm here, and like start hiring people who have curves, who have more curves, who are larger bodies and all that, because again it is really good for the brand image itself. And then to hire plus size models if they haven't, and if they have already hired plus size models, to always just make sure to always have them. And then for the future research, I would really suggest to get more samples, conduct the research from fashion brands point of view, as my research is conducted from the customer point of view. And then I will also suggest to find more factors that affect the customer purchase decision, as in my study I only find the brand image as the factor, like the remaining 11.70% is still unknown in this research. And that's all for me. Thank you so much for listening.